Hi, everybody. This is Avrohom Czapnik from the Jewish Learning Exchange. I hope you and yours are well. The holiday season is ended, and we hope that everybody had inspiring, joyous, reflective growth all through the holiday season. We have tremendous joy and thank the Almighty for allowing the hostages to finally be released. But we need to keep on praying for them and their families to get over the trauma of what they went through, as well as hoping that the rest of the seized hostages are returned so that they and their family can have, the bodies can have a Jewish burial and the families can have some closure. This week's Torah portion is the beginning of Chumash Bereishis, the book of Genesis, and Parshat Bereishis, the portion of Bereishis. The first book and the first Torah portion. Bereishis is a new beginning. It talks about Bereishis, in the beginning God created heaven and earth. So a question we could wonder about is, why don't we start Bereishis by Rosh Hashanah? Rosh Hashanah is the new year. Let's start Bereishis then. And one of the answers really is because we need to go through the holiday season to get clarity before we can have a new beginning. We need to have the insight and the self-reflection and the repentance and the growth and figuring out what we're good at and what we're not so good at, what we have to work on and what we can do to become better. Then we can have new beginnings. So Bereishis is the beginning of creation, and it's the beginning of our new beginning for this new year of Tafshin Pei Vav, 5786. And the Torah tells us, Bereishis, in the beginning, that God created the world. Why? For keeping the Torah. For the Torah that is also called Bereishis. And for the Jewish people who accepted that job of keeping the Torah. So what we need for new beginnings is moral clarity and priorities, which the holiday season helps us have, to know why we're here and what we have to work on to become better. So just have a new beginning and to party like New Year's and maybe have some resolutions that we don't look at, that's not new beginnings. New beginnings really takes thought and contemplation and effort and prayer. And also, new beginnings come with divine assistance built in, that if we're serious about growth and change and making a new start, then we can do that. I'd like to share with you something one of the hostages said, who was not religious at all. And he just was released, and he said something very powerful. He said that when he was first a hostage and he was locked in an apartment, he looked up and prayed to a crack in the ceiling. And then he was taken and put into a tunnel, and he looked up and prayed to the LED light that was there. And in spite of the suffering he went through, and instead of that pushing him away from God, it brought him closer to God. Because when he was placed in a dark tunnel with no light and no crack to see, he finally opened up and prayed to God. And he himself said, in spite of normally bad situations make us run away from God, it brought me closer to God. And now he has a clarity that he never had before. In the greatest darkness, he saw the light of believing and hoping and praying to God. What a powerful lesson for all of us. All of us have our own problems and headaches and difficulties and challenges. And sometimes we relegate the most important priorities to the back burner because we have all these other things that we have to take care of. But Bereishis is a time of new beginnings. God created the world that we should live a holy, moral, spiritual life connected to God, the Jewish people, and His Torah. And this Israeli hostage got the clarity of light in the greatest terrible darkness, not only physical but emotional and the abuse and the torture. But he was in the dark of a tunnel, and he realized, I need to talk to somebody who I never even was on my radar screen, God. May we all be inspired by his actions, and may we all use the new beginning of the book of Genesis that we're starting Bereishis and the Parshat Bereishis to make new beginnings for ourselves, beginnings of joy, beginnings of happiness, beginning of focus and attention in the right direction with our priorities, with great clarity, and with divine help, we will achieve greatness in this new year and the new beginning. Have a wonderful Shabbos.